So I am watching a YouTube video about this like baby otter who's so cute when I suddenly get reminded of the destabilizing kind of abuser who loves it when you're clingy and needy. It makes them feel better about themselves. And so I want to say I'm not an animal anything. I mean, like obviously I have pets, but I don't I don't know anything about otters. And so this is not a criticism of that specific situation. It just reminded me of what you often see. So essentially, she's 6 weeks, she's 7 weeks. Her name is Lola, and every time I see the video and there's any kind of distance between her and the guy, she comes scampering up and is making these like little, I mean, they're adorable, but they're cute little like distress noises, kind of like mewling noises, but not quite like a cat. And so there's one video where he's coming over to her little cage area and he's going to give her fish for the first time. I guess she's only had milk. And she's just freaking out. But again, she's small and the little noises are like they're cute and they're squeaky and it's just, so you're watching it and adorable little otter and someone made a comment and said, "Oh, she's so clingy and adorable." And I was like having a flashback moment to abusers I've seen who love that shit. So essentially, this kind of abuser, they may be attracted to people who are in a bad situation, who need help. Or if they find you when you are doing great, living your best life, they will do things to destabilize you emotionally. And so it might be something like compromising your finances or, pushing you away so that then you become frantic and try to get close to them. Kind of like that otter video. Again, this is no shade to the otter dude. I don't know anything about otters. I have no idea. Obviously that's just a snapshot of things. So it was so strongly reminded me of just how some abusers will push you away. And that distance creates like a type of trauma, and then you try to reattach with them and to feel secure. But they feel secure the more insecure you feel. The more secure you feel, the more insecure they feel. And so they might do things to make you feel insecure. And I'm not even the difference between an unintentional and an intentional abuser is going to be self-awareness. So this person may or may not understand that this is what they're doing, and they may or may not understand that it is abusive, but it is abusive, and also it is for a purpose that is contrary to what you would want for someone that you love. We want the people that we love to be living their best life, to feel confident and strong, to feel most themselves, to have a secure attachment to then be able to go out in the world and to do what they want to do. The more secure you feel inside, the more outward focused you become. You're not so internally oriented. It's more about what am I doing? What am I thinking? How am I showing up and how am I being present like in life? Whereas when you're in a bad relationship dynamic, you're focused on the relationship. You're focused on making this other person happy. You're focused on, well, how do I get things back to how they used to be? How do I fix it? How do I whatever? And that's not where we want to be. Even as a parent, especially as a parent, if you have a child that is like clingy, right? You can look at it and think it's cute, or you can look at it and go, oh, they don't feel confident to be on their own. Now, that doesn't mean kids don't go through like a clinging stage. It doesn't mean that clinginess is bad per se, and everybody sort of has their own inner orientation. But like as a parent, you don't want for your kids to be clingy. You want for them, if you're well adjusted, you want for them to go out in the world and have little adventures and to make friends, and any relationships they make with other adults are not going to be triggering, kind of like a feeling of betrayal inside yourself. I've seen parents where that happens. And so they feel very competitive if their kids happen to attach to another adult. And so those types of parents are often very strong on the guilt trip game. Anyway, if you have an abuser who loves to help, loves it when you're in a bad situation, they may go out of their way to create that bad situation. There was a story on Reddit several years ago where this young woman, I think a sister had died. Somebody had died. Maybe it was a mother, but somebody important to her had died. And so part of how she processed her grief was she had a candle. And I don't know if that other person had made it or had gotten it for her, or it's been a while since I read it. But essentially, the guy, as she was getting toward a healthier place in her grief, as she was healing, it made him feel insecure. And so he went and he used the candle and burnt it down. And of course it, was one of these things that's plausibly deniable. He had plausible deniability that, oh, I didn't realize, but he knew. He knew it would upset her. He knew it would make her anxious. And so you have abusers who are like that, who like it when you're anxious, who like it when you're clingy, who like it when you're needy. And just like the tiny baby otter, they find it adorable. It makes them feel secure. Now, I do want to say there is a type of abuser who likes to find people in distress and then start dating them as if they're so helpful. And then once the abuser feels secure, they will start to cut you down for being, deficient in some way. When, hello, the mess was already there. You came into the situation already knowing things were not optimal. So it's like they find a person that's in a bad place and then use that later to undermine that person's self-confidence and self-esteem. Like, why were you looking for this person? Why not go find a strong person who meets all of your qualifications? Well, the reason they don't do that is because they don't want that person. They want to be in a position where they can feel better about themselves and to criticize. So you can have it where it's not necessarily about the fact that you're in distress. It could be that it's the fact that you are highly criticizable. Not a word, but today it is. Anyway, I hope this makes sense, and I'll talk to you next time.